This is Ileheart. Designed by Neptunia's character designer Sunako, she is Ileheart's official VTuber who made her debut on April 10th, 2018. Ever since she was born, she had dedicated her life to promoting Ileheart's projects uploading vlogs, gameplay videos, and even music. While more recently her upload schedule is inconsistent at best, Ileheart had a certain charm to her that garnered her own fan base. But the Western Neptunia fans might recognize her from Neptunia Virtual Stars, as she's one of the very first VTubers you meet in the game. She also made a cameo appearance in Neptunia X Senran Kagura. But I'm not here to talk about her channel today. Allow me to introduce you to Super Ileheart Quest, her very own video game where she stars as the main protagonist, and today I'll be talking about this game's announcement, what we know about it, and what might have happened to it. December 20th, 2018. The Dengeki Neptune Volume 4 Hero Neptune Special is released, an entire magazine dedicated to the release of Super Neptunia RPG. But in it is a special corner just for Ileheart, and here is where we get our very first look at the game. We have a logo and a screenshot. The screenshot doesn't seem to be of the gameplay itself, more so a prototype image of the model for Ileheart in a background. Not a lot of info to go on about this. So, what about Ileheart herself? Did she acknowledge that she's getting her own game? Did she announce anything? Kind of, but not really. 1 week after the magazine released, Ileheart uploaded a video talking about the magazine's content, but didn't really go into detail about anything, because obviously she was there to promote it. What's even more interesting is that in this same video, she mentions that from that point onward, she would publish stuff on a monthly basis in the magazine. And looking at her later vlogs talking about later issues, we do see that this is true. However, mention of the game is scarce. There aren't any release dates announced, no screenshots from what I can find. So even though Ileheart does have a corner in the Dengeki magazine, she isn't talking about the game, it seems. So yeah, we're actually out of luck when it comes to what we know about the game. A screenshot and a logo. 5 years after its initial announcement with no further information, I think it's safe to assume the game has either been scrapped or shelved for the time being. But that just begs the question, what happened to Super Ileheart Quest? Well, unfortunately there aren't any interviews or official details regarding that information, so I came up with a few theories. Theory number 1. The crossover killed it. Given we got an announcement in December of 2018, and Ileheart herself was born in April, I think it's safe to assume that development started somewhere in between. But I think that it was completely overhauled to become Neptunia Virtual Stars. The game released on August of 2020. Given that this was Ileheart's first game in a long time that didn't just straight up reuse old gameplay mechanics, I'd say this was the groundwork for what they would have done in Super Ileheart Quest, but then at some point shifted direction to become what we have today. I think they wanted to shift the game into a direction they could profit more out of. Or it's probably a bit more complicated than that. Theory number 2, Super Ileheart Quest was a backup. You know what takes a lot of time and stress? Contracts and negotiations. Before a crossover of any IP can begin, there's always the big talks that the joining companies have to discuss before such a thing can even exist. And given that Virtual Stars had more than 50 VTubers with at least 10 different companies being involved, I could only imagine how long those conversations had to be and how exact the contracts were written. Not to mention the amount of time it takes to get every single one of those VTubers together to record their sections of the game. So then what happens if that all falls through and virtual stars can't happen? Well, that's where Super Ileheart Quest comes in. If the contracts and meetings fell through, they can at least push out a game with their own VTuber to star in to meet deadlines. Or maybe, just maybe, what's left of Super Ileheart Quest is still around. Number 3, they waited. Hear me out. The debut of their VTuber with the announcement of a game based on her was a little too soon, don't you think? 8 months in between, to be exact. Imagine if that happened today. This random YouTuber comes out of nowhere and just in a short amount of time announces they're making a big game starring themselves. I think they probably wanted to see just how far their little VTuber can go before releasing a game for her. Because if the sales weren't going through for a brand new IP they just made, they'd probably be in trouble. So they backpedaled and decided to wait and shelve the game for the foreseeable future. And what happened? Eli Hart fell into obscurity, barely uploading at all, and Compile Heart doesn't seem to be doing much to promote her or even support her at this point. Realistically, the game is probably never gonna resurface ever again. Eli Hart isn't doing much of anything anymore, and Compile Heart doesn't seem to want to do anything. Unless something happens in the coming months or even years, I highly doubt that the game that was promised will ever see the light of day. Or, that's just my thoughts on the situation. Really, I think I'm the only person who gives a shit about this, given that I see nobody else talking about this weird anomaly. Did you know about Eli Hart before this video? If you did you know she was even gonna get a game based on her? Let me know what you think in the comments, and remember, only close to 10% of people watching this are certified badasses. Wow, you actually made it to the end of the video. That's actually kind of crazy. Thanks for watching. This is another one of those videos that I've had, it's just sitting there waiting for me to work on it, and I finally got the motivation to actually do it, and I actually finished it within 2 days. So you know what, I guess I should have just done it earlier. Anyway, I got nothing to say. I got another video in the works, Capcom related. You can take a guess of what it could be. And you guys already know what to do. Subscribe, hit the like button, do all that stuff that supports me. And if you really want to support me, click the join button down below to become a member. I do have some member exclusive content that will be ready to roll out soon, so if you don't want to miss it, make sure you're a member. And I'll see you guys in the next one.